Coming up on Tekzilla, a speed round of SSD questions. The new Roku boxes are here. New monitor for your PC or a 30-inch HD TV and a stack of your viewer questions. So grab that bowl of tortilla chips and slather on the cheese sauce because Tekzilla starts now. This episode of Tekzilla is made possible by Squarespace. Use the code Tekzilla when you check out. Get a 10% discount for life. Gamefly.com. Go to gamefly.com/Tekzilla for your free trial membership. And Lucha Libre. Grab your mask and get directly into the ring with the Los Heroes of Lucha Libre. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
How do we say it again, Veronica?
Heroes.
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 Can you tell
Los
I'm from
Heroes.
Illinois? Welcome to Tekzilla, hand-on reviews of the latest tech and how to make the most out of the gear you've already got. And Spanish lessons.
Occasionally. Whether you're a beginner or tech support for your friends and family, if you've got a question about tech or the best donut shops in the Pacific Northwest, we've got an answer for you. And just for the record, they're Voodoo Donut in Portland, Oregon, and Top Pot Donuts in Seattle, Washington.
Bacon on donuts. Does it get any better than this?
Actually, there's bacon on there's a few places in San Francisco that also do bacon on donuts.
But most
bacon
of their
maple.
donuts suck, despite the bacon.
No, that's not true. I'll write you a list.
See this? Actually, where did it go? I lost it. I had a paperclip before. Somebody probably threw it out. I was in the middle of setting up a bit of bleeding edge tech earlier today, and I had to reset the beastie, which required a paperclip. Closing in on 20 years making my living in tech, and the lowly paperclip is still an essential tool. Who would have thought?
I believe it. Got to reset it somehow.
Paperclip. On a somewhat related note, I just want to say it's all about Underpants stenciled rockets or rocket stenciled underpants. Getting your geek dad or geek mom on, that is. If you're a parent, check out geekdad.com. If you've got 3-year-old friendly iPad apps, please feel free to email Tekzilla at revision3.com with them because I'm looking to expand Seamus's au revoir beyond Fruit Ninja.
I actually heard that all the apps on the Apple App Store that are for educational purposes, like something like 90% of them are for kids 3 and under.
I wouldn't be
Not
surprised.
for them, but kids 3 and under are using them regularly.
Or their parents are buying them and putting them in front of
Just
them.
go, take the iPad, fine, take the iPad, get it.
Well, it is very
Stop
conducive
crying.
to touching.
Oh yeah,
Especially
big time.
when you wrap a big giant OtterBox case around it. Anyhow, we got to send congratulations on a somewhat more related note to our very own Veronica Belmont. She got the nod from the local Bay Area hipster magazine, 7 by
I used to call
7.
it a hipster magazine.
It is a hipster magazine.
It's not. It's a local like arts and culture magazine.
It's the hip arts and culture magazine. It's not the mainstream arts. You have been
You're
anointed
tainting my happiness
as
by
the
calling it a
geek.
hipster magazine.
You don't want to be a hipster? Have you seen your shoes, woman? You are a hipster.
I'm wearing. Never mind.
Fabulous shoes. Veronica got the nod from the local magazine 7 by 7 as one of the hot 20 under 40 billed as the geek.
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise for viewers of the show was the fact that I actually have legs
And
that you could see.
if you're a Belmont fan, track down a copy of the magazine 7 by 7 published here in San Francisco. She's in front of the table in high heels.
In high heels.
Like 9-inch
yes.
high heels.
No, like 3-inch high heels. But the perspective does make me look somewhat giantess.
Tall.
I look a little tall. I am tall.
I never said you weren't tall.
I'm like 5'10" right now.
But you look much longer in that picture.
In heels. I'm also wearing heels now. I'm usually 5'7".
Woohoo!
So medium tall.
Congratulations.
Thank
Ms.
you very
Belmont.
much. It was a big honor to be included. And
Did you get a crown?
No.
Oh.
No.
We'll get you a crown for next week.
Yeah. Android users, rejoice. Check out Lifehacker's Universal and Root's most Android phones, no PC or hacking required article. We're talking rooting, so you can run root-only apps like wireless tether, set CPU, and ROM manager. No PC required, just a few clicks, no annoying hacking weirdness. We got a link to the Lifehacker article in the show notes. Definitely check that one out.
Yeah, it's a fun one because it's not just like two type of HTC phones. It's lots and lots of Android devices.
Yeah.
It is exciting.
And they are growing. There are lots and lots more Android devices coming out on the market every day, and they're quickly overtaking everything else out there.
I don't know if they're overtaking everything else, because the video, like my go-to when video won't play, or even DVDs, when I can't get to play on my PC, Video LAN client, it's like the open source Swiss Army knife of video. New platform, new this week, is VLC Media Player for the iPad.
Yes.
Available free from the App Store. iLounge.com says, quote, it includes all of the same built-in codecs present on other platforms, supporting playback of almost any video format that can be found on the internet, including support for a variety of streaming video formats, including MKV files. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Interesting. While we're talking mobile, Google's bringing more security to Google apps in the form of free two-step verification when you access them from a mobile phone. They're also working to bring proper Google Doc editing to the Android and to the iPad, which is a big deal for us, at least, as we edit all our show stuff in Google Docs. So now we can edit the Tekzilla scripts from anywhere, like a beach, or like, because I have the 3G iPad.
Tell me why this is good.
Because, oh, right, work.
Viewer question.
Yep, Nikki wrote in, a 30-inch flat panel computer monitor costs $1,000 and a 30-inch HD TV costs $400. What would be the advantage to getting a monitor over an HD TV? Thanks. Nikki in Quebec, Canada. So are you using it for entertainment like Netflix and Blu-ray movies, or to write your thesis at school? Older 30-inch HD TVs were often 720p panels with a native resolution of 1280 by 720 or 1366 by 768. Compared to a 30-inch computer monitor with a native resolution of 1920 by 1080 or 1200 pixels, you'd lose a lot of on-screen real estate and get some pretty big-looking pixels. Think, major eye strain and pain if you're used to reading or writing or working in a spreadsheet for a really long time. Yeah. The latest round of 30 to 37-inch monitors seem to mostly be 1080p, which is pretty comparable to a good mid-priced 30-inch computer monitor. Yeah. Top-of-the-line monitors like Dell's, the ultra-sharp, 3007 WFP-HC, they offer better color and a higher resolution, which is really nice. Think like 2560 by 1600 pixels for your work, which would be nice. If you're in a giant spreadsheet, that's a lot of spreadsheet space.
Or even if you just have a whole bunch of windows open. The Kell factor kind of says the closer the monitor is to your face, the happier your eyeballs are with a higher resolution. If you're across the room, 720p looks amazing because you can't resolve individual pixels of detail. If you're at your desk and it's right here, putting 720p pixels spread out and it's a 30-inch screen, painful.
Your brain is trying to clarify those pixels and to make it a sharp image because it knows that it should be, and that just that's why you're supposed to give your eyes some space throughout the day by
every
looking
20,
at your
30
computer
minutes.
and then looking off into the distance and looking back again.
Yeah.
Your brain just doesn't function very well with a monitor right in your face all day.
Your eyes will fix it like the same focal length for too long, and then your brain will start to hurt, and you'll go to an optometrist, and they'll be like, you work on a computer for extended periods of time, and you go, yes, and they'll go, leave the computer every 20 minutes. I haven't found one of the new 1080p 30-inch HDTVs to try it out on, but lower resolutions on a 30-inch panel, big spaces between the red, green, and blue pixels, not bad for movies, but fugly when you're trying to read text on a web page. Bigger 42 and 52-inch HDTVs are actually even worse. You can kind of use them with your Mac or PC for gaming, maxes out at 60 frames per second, or movies, but they're really painful for regular work and reading web pages on your desk unless they're, like we said, 12, 15 feet away across the room. They're not too bad then. I'd like to see 30-inch computer monitors drop to the $500 range the next year, but I think the demand for 1080p glass for HDTVs is going to make that a much longer wait than I want. As in, the capacity for the glass is just being sucked into every HDTV manufacturer on the planet. 21 to 24 inches is the real sweet spot for $300 to $500 monitors right now. There's a gorgeous 23-inch Dell Ultra Sharp for $250 now at the Dell outlet, and 21.5-inch Ultra Sharp Dell monitors at the Dell outlet for $198 question mark. So.
I think we've probably sent a lot of business to the Dell outlets in people's areas. But hey, Nikki, if you do choose to buy a 30-inch HD TV to use with your computer, let us know. Email Tekzilla at revision3.com and tell us how it turns out.
I'd be curious. Roku's got a new box in the XD Pipe S, put a hurting on the Apple TV. Stay tuned to find out. But while we got your attention, let's talk Squarespace. It's a publishing system for anybody looking to build an amazing website. tools that allow you to update it from your iPhone on the go. Pretty hassle-free importing of sites from other environments. Stats, very nicely implemented, and quite a bit more, like, a WYSIWYG configuration page so you can, well, build the website you want without paying a lot of money. Squarespace makes it super easy for anybody, including dorks like me, to build a site that you could only dream on other platforms. No coding experience requires. If you are into the code, you can get under the hood and customize things even further. Tens of thousands of people all across the internet have been using Squarespace for years. It's time for you to give it a try. Head over to squarespace.com. You can score a free 14-day trial. Then, if you decide to stick on Squarespace, and I bet you will, use the promotion code Tekzilla when you place your order. You'll get 10% off the lifetime of your account. That's a lot of savings, people. Squarespace.com, Tekzilla is the code. Check it out. Welcome to this week's freebie download pick, a free program that we find useful, fun, or incredibly interesting. This week, Ubuntu Netbook Edition. Is your netbook lacking enough oomph for even basic computing tasks? Kind of start something, run around the room a few times, waiting for it to get going? Before you decide to upgrade that netbook, check out an OS upgrade in the form of Ubuntu Netbook Edition. This distro takes the popular Ubuntu Linux OS and optimizes it for the smaller screen on your netbook and builds in support for a wide range of the hardware found in netbook models out today. Installation is painless. Download the ISO, burn it to a CD, or create a bootable USB thumb drive, and basically click. A few minutes later, you're done. Once it's up, you'll be presented with a simple-to-understand graphical user interface. No need for command lines or shell windows here, people. If you're worried about software, don't. Ubuntu Netbook Edition comes pre-installed with a web browser, Office apps, and utilities. If you need more software, easy. Just visit the Ubuntu Software Center for hundreds of free applications. All you need to provide is an internet connection. And since it's Ubuntu, you can be assured of regular updates and fixes for this operating system. You want to give that old netbook a new lease on life? You should download Ubuntu Netbook Edition today. It's free, people.
Roku cut their prices just before Apple announced the new Apple TV, and they've got a new family of Roku players starting at $59.99. The Roku HD, XD, and XDS are coming soon. So, Patrick, Roku expert that you are, what's the good word, my friend?
Roku expert. I get that as a big lower third and stencil it across my chest. Okay, this is the top of the line Roku XDS in for eval. Basically, they're moving on. Whole new lineup of Roku boxes. Biggest difference is the new remote control, new case design, and the unsettling to our man Brett behind the camera
addition
purple
of tabs.
Tag logo, like their
cute.
jeans. Stylish, distinctive, and actually very practical because you can use the purple tag on the remote to remove the battery cover. And oh yeah, 1080p for all models. Apple TV, I'm looking at you. Roku can do 1080p. Why can't you, Apple? Anyhow, a little bit bitter. I'm going to let that go now. The case is smaller in all three dimensions, slightly sleeker, and all three of them pack HDMI, composite video, and audio, along with integrated Wi-Fi and Ethernet, so it is SD and HD capable. The XDS is the only one with optical and component output, so it's basically used as a dongle for component output, has optical audio output for your receiver or whatever else you want to connect it to, and it's got dual band 802.11n instead of standard 802.11n, and a USB port, seen here by the wee little key, for, quote, side loading of content. Literally, side loading of content. That's going to make me giggle too. Not quite as...
Only we would think that's funny, by the way.
Because we are geeks.
Like, get it? Because it actually loads on the side.
Not quite as convenient as network streaming from the UPnP server, but we'll talk about that later. All three of the new Roku boxes work with the 75 odd channels in the Roku Channel Store, which includes Revision 3, Netflix, Major League Baseball, and 72 others. Main source of 1080p content right now is Vimeo. This is David A. Smith Sign Painter, which looks absolutely gorgeous up close. The USB port is for side-loading video, playing it off a USB drive. Currently requires MPEG-4 videos, and Roku tells us will include .move when the channel goes public in the Roku Channel Store in October. And you can see it now doing 1080p trailer playbacks.
So how much are we going to be dropping for one of these?
Netflix basic box, the HD, 720p streaming only, comes in at $60. The XD, which adds 1080p and extended range 802.11n, $80. Oh, and of course it's got the little star and the instant rewind. I didn't hear that button. And the XDS was showed off here, which has the USB. Also, this 1080p video has a dual band wireless N and the cool new remote control. $99.99. Gonna be a big fall for set-top boxes.
I still want one box to rule them all.
It's an interesting thing Roku did recently is not only do they have these new box designs, 1080p output support, they redesigned their SDK and a bunch of their widget APIs. So they are kind of, you know, they've got Netflix, they've got Amazon Video on Demand, they've got Major League Baseball, and they're trying to make themselves, because right now, right, Netflix is everywhere, and somebody is going to be the next center for watching video on your television. And right now, it's Samsung does their thing, Sony does their thing, Vizio does the Yahoo thing on their televisions and their Blu-ray players.
Microsoft.
Amazon, is Microsoft still, does Microsoft, well, Windows
On
Media
the Xbox,
Center.
And on the Xbox. You
That's
can
a
play
good point.
Netflix on the Xbox.
And of course the PS3 and the Wii. But like everybody wants to be kind of the center for entertainment in the digital living room. It's going to be my new phrase. The digital living room with a lean-back environments. And it's all still a mess and will be for a while.
Yeah.
But that's good.
It's
Because
nice
it
to
means
have options.
more cheap stuff faster for us consumery type people.
I just contradicted myself. I was like, I want one set-top box to rule them all. And then I'm like, it's nice to have choices.
Well, you want to choose one set-top box that is right for you.
Exactly.
There you go. Not contradictory at all.
No. Up next, we've got some questions about solid-state hard drives, defragging, imaging, and will they really speed up your computer? But first, Gamefly is the largest online video game rental service and offers you a choice of over 7,000 new and classic titles across all consoles and handhelds. With plans starting at $15.95 a month, Gamefly members can rent 1 to 4 games at a time and keep them for as long as they like. Trust me, I've had Heavy Rain for like 4 months. There are no late fees, no due dates, and shipping is always free. Once you're done playing a game, send it back and Gamefly will send you the next available game on your list. If you really like the game you're playing, simply click Keep It on the Gamefly website and the game is yours at a discounted price. Gamefly will even mail you the case and manuals free of charge. I should probably just do that. Tekzilla fans get a 15-day free trial when they go to www.gamefly.com/Tekzilla. Looks like it's time for another website we just can't get enough of. A website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. This week's pick, YouTube Time Machine. Feeling nostalgic? Check out YouTube Time Machine, a site that catalogs YouTube videos by the year the video originally came from. It's like taking a trip in a virtual time machine. Kind of. Here's how it works. First, select the year you're interested in visiting, or revisiting for that matter. Let's go 80s style and pick 1983. A video will pop up along with the info on who submitted it and a button for liking and sharing the clip. Once you're done watching that clip, hit the next video button for more. If you only want music videos or clips of current events from that time, you can choose which categories will come up using the switches right there on the right. To add a video to the timeline, use the Add a Video button near the bottom of the page. Just fill in the relevant info and tag the category of the clip and it'll be added to the YouTube history. So take a trip back in time with the YouTube Time Machine at yttm.tv. You won't even need to crank your computer to 1.21 gigawatts.
Samuel in Dublin, California writes, and I do lots of converting watermarking on my PC. I've got an E8400, an AC5770 GPU, 4 gigabytes of RAM, a 1700 RPM hard drive. Will my converting performance improve if I upgrade to an SSD? Thanks a lot. Temulin in Dublin, California.
Well, maybe if you're dealing with absolutely ginormous files, and then not by much, just opening it, that would probably speed things up in that area.
Yeah.
In general, operations like file conversion and rendering are CPU bound, meaning what will affect the speed or throughput of the operation is the CPU. Even with the fastest SSD RAID set up in your PC, you'd still be bottlenecked by the processor. If you want to improve rendering times, you'll need to look at processor and potentially motherboard upgrades.
Yeah, I mean, or application upgrades, right? If your current rendering application uses a single core, if you could find one that takes advantage, can do your rendering across multiple threads, you can take advantage of all the cores in your CPU, then you start looking at those 6-core processors going, I could leave the office 4 hours earlier. I'm also, I gotta say, I'm still fascinated. Intel last week, we're talking to Lloyd Case, who's like, turns out SSD drives can improve gaming performance. Like if you ever see a game, like when you're doing something, you know, and it stutters for a second and then kind of cleans itself up, because SSDs, the levels on files or the files on levels of games are so huge now, they bottleneck on traditional hard drives. So look, you can do some benchmarking to see if maybe loading the files faster helps you encode faster or watermark faster. But like Veronica said, doubtful. Possible, just doubtful.
And then DJ writes in, I recently got an SSD and I've been doing research on how to maintenance one. Well, the problem is I just can't seem to get a straight answer. I keep reading on defragging an SSD that you'll decrease the life of the drive and also lose performance over time. Are you supposed to defrag an SSD or just allow Windows 7 trim technology to do the job? If you can defrag an SSD, any suggestions on which programs to use? Thanks, DJ in Denver, Colorado.
Well, I'm betting there's some defrag software writers out there that have their own opinions on this, but Windows 7 makes a decision for you and by default turns off defragging along with superfetch, ready boost, and other boot time and application prefetching operations. According to Intel, quote, no. SSD devices, unlike traditional hard disk drives, see no performance benefit from traditional hard disk drive defragmentation tools. Using these tools simply adds unnecessary wear to the SSD. It is recommended that you disable any automatic or scheduled defragmentation utilities for your Intel SSD. And I'm figuring if Intel says no, I'm good to go with Intel's kind of word on the subject.
Because if you could be real tinfoil hatty, well, no, either way, that doesn't really work. I could say that if you wanted to be real tinfoil hatty about it, you could say, well, maybe they would encourage you to defrag so you would wear down your drive faster and then therefore need to buy one. But then I thought, but they don't want people to say that their drives wear down really fast either.
So basically you were trying to be tinfoil
I was trying to do that, and then, and then I was like, no, that's stupid.
It's like a tinfoil
So
hat
I stopped.
with ears.
Yeah.
Cirillo writes in from Miami. Hey guys, I want to upgrade my laptop's hard drive. I want to keep everything I have on the current hard drive as is. What's the best and easiest way to go about this? Thanks, Cirillo in Miami, Florida. Clone it, dude. If you want the exact same setup, you need to image the drive, the old drive, take the old drive's image and put it on your new drive.
Yes, Acronis True Image works great for Windows. It'll take the info in your existing drive and resize your old drive's partition to fit the new drive size. So if you're imaging a 300 gigabyte hard drive to a 1 terabyte drive, you won't end up with a single 300 gigabyte partition on that 1 terabyte drive and the rest totally unformatted.
Irritating.
Yeah, totally. If you're running OS 10, check out SuperDuper or Carbon Copy Cloner. Carbon Copy Cloner is free and SuperDuper is $27.95, but you can use the eval version to copy a whole drive, which is really nice. So enjoy your fancy schmancy new drive. And then we've got an email saying, hello, Patrick and Veronica. I just love your show, never miss an episode. I need some help with the screen protector for the Samsung Galaxy S that I just bought. I found something from Zag, but I wonder if it's good enough. Can you recommend something else? What are you guys using? Christy in Romania.
Do you use any kind of screen protection?
I don't currently.
Stuff?
No, I don't. I've had it in the past, and it just got too schmutzy.
Schmutzy.
Yeah, you know, like I didn't like it on the iPhone at least, like
Right.
the protector that I was using. I don't even remember, it was like InvisiShield or something. It just didn't, it looked a little schmutzy and I wasn't into it, so I just went with the glass. The glass is pretty strong on the iPhone, so I'm not really that worried about getting...
I mean, on the iPhone 4.
On the iPhone 4, yes, sorry. I know your experience with previous iPhones and their glass strength.
Don't be telling me how strong that glass was on the 3G.
So I have an external case on it, but nothing protecting the screen currently. Not that that's a bad thing or a bad idea to do.
Yeah. The only reason I don't have one on my iPhone 4 is I haven't put on yet. You're talking about Zag's Invisible Shield. They make them for zillions of devices. I just go with the screen covers. The whole device wraps, I think, kind of suck. They're hard to put on. I don't think you need to protect the back of the phone, although the weird thing about the iPhone 4 is that there's glass on both sides. A lot of folks like bestskins.ever.com, very similar material to what Zag offers at a lower cost. There are about a billion others out there. I actually like having a screen protector on there.
Yeah.
Because obviously with my ability to drop phones anywhere and at any time, I want every little tiny advantage I can get. In terms of scratching though, the iPhone 4 really does seem pretty
no,
scratch
please,
resistant.
no, don't do that. No, why do you just, are you doing it?
I'm doing it. I can't hear a thing.
I don't want to look at it.
No,
I'm
that's
not gonna
amazing
look at
actually. I'm not going to dig it in there, but here, let me get my greasy fingerprints off here. Check it out.
Oh man, well, coming up, we talked to Kyle over at iFixit.com to get Patrick a new glass front for his iPhone 4.
Look.
No, we're just kidding. Did you do it?
Yeah. Look,
No, you did not scratch it? Well, that's not going to scratch it. This is a knife. We've got more viewer questions coming up. No, Kyle, I was just kidding. But first, grab your mask and get directly into the ring with Los Héroes de Lucha Libre. Héroes del Ring delivers an authentic bilingual gaming experience that mimics move for move the brute strength and gravity-defying acrobatics of real-life Lucha Libre. Plus, you pick from over 30 AAA wrestlers and their signature moves. So start following the game today by becoming a fan on Facebook at facebook.com/AAA Heroes or following Heroes on Twitter at AAA Heroes for all the latest news and video updates. Pre-order by October 12th and receive an authentic AAA licensed lucha mask to wear at play, at work, or wherever you want. Because it's not just wrestling, it's Lucha Libre. Hi, Patrick and Veronica. Patrick and Roger mentioned last week that they're using insecure text files to manage their passwords. For the longest time, I was using a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet for my password management. Shame on me, too. Then a year ago, a coworker told me about KeePass password safe utility. It has the ability to generate passwords of particular complexity and length, categorization, password expiration, copy password value securely to the clipboard for use in website login forms, and has several methods for authentication for protecting the password database itself. I was skeptical at first because I had several passwords, not as many as Patrick said he kept, that I did not want to have to re-enter into a new program. Luckily, KeePass Safe has several options for importing passwords from other popular password programs, XML format, and CSV, which I use from Excel. The program works for Windows, Mac, and Linux. Love the show. Keep up the great work, Eric in Monterey.
I just have one thing to say. My text document is encrypted. Thank you very much.
A few
KeePass
people
really
emailed
cool.
about that actually, saying, well, maybe their passwords were encrypted. The text file was encrypted. Someone said that on the forums, I think.
I said
and they're
on this-
like, no, he would have said that if it was.
I did. Well,
Did
apparently
you?
it got cut.
Did you? You, of all people, use a text document?
Yeah. It's
What is wrong with you?
It's just a long-standing tradition.
Next up, Patrick and Veronica, you forgot to mention the ultimate password manager. The Gmail contact list is where I keep all my passwords.
So Gmail employees can browse it at will.
That only
not
happened that one time.
Just that one time.
I make a new contact for each account and add all relevant information. I don't manage my Amazon or bank account information like this, though. The best part is that I can access this data from anywhere. Thanks for the great show, Jet. That's an interesting one. I thought that was something a little bit different. Makes sense.
I love Google. I'm
Keep it in
just
the cloud.
not putting my
Well, why Gmail and not just use a Google Doc then, in that case? Same amount of protection.
or actually put a document on
Yeah. Well.
Dropbox and encrypt it.
Next up, hi. Instead of storing a huge set of passwords, I mainly rely on SuperGenPass, which generates a different password for each website by using a root password.
Interesting.
This way, I have to remember just one really tough password, and I have strong passwords for all my other accounts. It's a bookmarklet, so it can be used on any browser, as well as, in my case, Opera. Regards, Paramud. Votes for LastPass from a lot of people, actually. Josh said, Dear Tekzilla, I use LastPass for all my passwords. It works on Windows, Mac, and Linux on all major browsers. Then we got another one. Hey, Patrick and Veronica, I just finished watching episode 158 and was surprised you didn't mention LastPass. I prefer it over 1Password, and I think you should give it a try. Steve in Oregon. I use and highly recommend LastPass at LastPass.com. It's extremely secure, and it supports Windows, Mac, Linux, iPhone, BlackBerry, Android, etc.
Cool.
It even imported my Firefox saved passwords with ease. If you'd like to know more about how it works, Steve Gibson evaluated LastPass in episode 256 of Security Now. Tim W. I was disappointed this episode when talking about password storage that you completely missed LastPass. Not only does it have clients for all the above OSs we just mentioned, it also has clients for all the above phones we just mentioned. The basic version is free, $12 a year, gets you the mobile clients. You can export the database to a file and use second-factor authentication devices. Richard.
Cool.
And finally, in the Passwords Manager How Do They Work department, I'm annoyed. The guy wanting assistance with password managers on last week's show put in a lot of effort to ask this question, and you didn't answer the most important bit. He said and wrote, more importantly, please show us dunces how it works. I, like Patrick and Roger, use my own document, in my case a very detailed password-protected spreadsheet, and haven't moved to a password manager because I don't know how they work. I watched the segment with great interest, only to be bitterly disappointed. How about a do-over, guys? Ian, man, I feel terrible.
I'll tell you what, Ian, We'll see if we can get someone to
terrible.
interview from LastPass or KeePass or one of those companies to discuss in as much detail as they are willing to own up as to how their password managers work.
Well, I started using after last week's episode 1Password.
Right.
I decided to give it a chance. I installed it on my Mac, I installed it on my iPad and my iPhone. And basically the gist of it for me.
That's not a try, that's an awesome leap.
I spent a lot of money actually on this software. And even though I knew about LastPass,
Right.
it just didn't even click. If you guys had written in earlier, if you had somehow known we were going to do this segment, told me, never mind. But to any extent, the way I use it is I have there's an experimental bookmarklet for Chrome. They've got plugins for all the other browsers. Chrome is still in the kind of experimental phase.
Chrome is kind of experimental.
Yeah, exactly. But you can download it off the 1Password site. And so when I log into one of my websites that needs a password, a little pop-up comes up and says, would you like to save this to 1Password?
But how does it know?
It just knows when you're filling a form, basically. Right. It can sense like Chrome can and like Firefox can and anything else, or Keyring for that matter, when you're entering in a password and username into a form. And then I just do wireless syncing, or you can even sync to a file on Dropbox that all your devices can access, and then it just syncs the passwords between devices. So it's been working really great. My Facebook password and other social networks I need to log in from my mobile devices regularly. It's been very handy to have that app there to go back to get the passwords on.
Yay.
So I think password managers in general, they're easy to use once you get going. I still wish that I could import from Keyring, which seems to be the one program that you can't successfully import to a password manager. You can export from almost all of them, which is great. So you can export to an Excel file or import from an Excel file.
Keyring built into OS 10?
Yes.
OS 10 making things difficult to move to other platforms?
Huh.
That's kind of like an Apple thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's been my experience so far. Next week we'll hook up my laptop and show you how the whole thing works, and maybe we'll install a few other password managers.
I will install LastPass.
Okay, good. Then we'll have a nice little
two.
cross-section. Anyway, ever see a video on YouTube and wonder, how did they do that? Wonder no more, as one of Revision 3's newest shows, Joe Genius, is lifting the mystery around the best science videos online and showing you why they work, or more often, why they don't. Join host Jonah Ray for new episodes of Joe Genius every Thursday at revision3.com/JoeGenius.
Everybody watching, we live on your questions. Please email us, Tekzilla@revision3.com. Check out part reviews, how-tos, food. You ask us, we'll eat it, or explain it, or figure out if it works. We need your emails, people. Don't be shy. Send them into Tekzilla@revision3.com. How do we say Tekzilla in Spanish?
Tekzilla.
Tekzilla. Tekzilla, Veronica.
Even better, send us in a video question. Think of all the fun you can have and the admiration of all your friends and family when they see your mug on our show. Just keep it to 15 seconds, upload it to YouTube, and send us a link in an email with video question in the subject line. And as always, you can visit our forums at revision3.com/forum. Share your thoughts, ideas, or comments with other fans of the show. Thank you guys so much for watching.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
We'll see you next week on
Tekzilla.
Tekzilla. Are you ready? Are you ready?
It's pronounced errores.
Two? Veronica Belmonte.
Veronica Belmonte. Nikki in Quebec, Canada. Camelot.
Camelot.
Camelot. Hold on. 3, 2. Very funny. Flip me over. Thank you. Oh God, my ear itches so much. Oh, it's terrible.
In 3. Sorry, I just completely foobarred reading. Must be the earpiece, tainted with Veronica cells.
Oh. You won't even eat. I can't talk today. I just want to go home. Plus, you pick from over 3. Why can't I talk? ¿Por qué? No puedo hablar.
That was awesome.
Come back. We're almost done.
Pat walked off.
Come back.